Our next speaker is one of the original co-founders of JPAL, Abhijit Banerjee. Abhijit has been involved in almost every aspect of JPAL, serving as the scientific director of Africa and of South Asia. In addition, he's also a prolific writer. You can follow him on a number of newspapers, talking not just about economics, but about a number of very interesting issues. Abhijit has also served on many policy capacities, including the Planning Commission of India and serving on the United Nations high-level panel on the post-2015 agenda. So please join me in welcoming Abhijit Banerjee.
It's a delight to be here. As the most decrepit member of JPAL, I was assigned the task of rambling on about the history of JPAL, so that's what I'll do. So JPAL started with a white envelope. One morning in my office, there was a white envelope from, I think, the provost's office, and I opened it. There was a letter in it saying that, it was completely unanticipated. It just said, you know, for the next 3 years, the three of you, Sendil Mullainathan, Esther, and me, were supposed to get $100,000 to do something with it. Now, and it was not, there was no particular rumbling before that, or we hadn't demanded we needed $100,000. It just arrived. And then we scratched our head and said, you know, what do you do with the money? And I mean, in some ways, the easiest part, I would say, was to decide what we wanted to do with it. We've been all doing randomized controlled trials. We thought this had something to do with randomized controlled trials. It had something to do with policy, so that was easy. What's hard was to decide on the name. I mean, you know, Poverty Action Lab sounded great. There was no Jameel then, but PAL sounded too cute. You know, PAL, friend of the people, sounded too cute. We were like so embarrassed by it that we took a long time to embrace it. I must say, I'll insist that I was in favor. I never think things can be too cute, but there was lots of pushback. Now, once we got that done, then it was the question of, well, does it make sense to start an organization? We were $300,000 over 3 years. These days, the median RCT costs about $300,000. So one RCT, then shut down. That's the plan. Well, we went and talked to Bengt Holmstrom, who was the chair of the department. And Bengt is, if you ever meet Bengt, if you met Bengt, he's a very sanguine man. He said, no problem, you'll raise the money. I said, where? Who will give us money? Why? And he said, no, you have a good idea. You'll get money. So, I mean, we said, fine. But like, you know, we were still completely not persuaded. But turns out MIT, like Bengt, seemed to somehow have that faith in us. I don't know what insight they had in us. I think, you know, who saw what in us, but they introduced us to some of MIT's most, I think, brilliant and generous alums. Mohammed being one of them, Russ Siegelman was another one, and somehow these people, I think this is a measure of why they are some of the, you know, so successful in the business world. They saw things in us which we frankly didn't. I think we had no idea of where we could get to. We thought we can have 5 evaluations. 447 was not on the scale. We were not thinking. Somehow they saw that we could get there, and I think we didn't. We thought, fine, we'll try what we can, but I think I think that vision, as much as their generosity, defined JPAL. I think that faith, and of course the money, of course the support, but I think that faith defined JPAL. I think we suddenly realized that somebody believes in us, and that was fundamental. And then since then, of course, we've been many organizations, many donors, many foundations, some of the, you know, our strongest supporters, Hewlett, Gates, Arnold, MacArthur, Marshall, the, you know, OSAID, DFID, USAID, lots of people have come with their support. We've been extraordinarily fortunate in being able to fund all these 447 evaluations. They cost real money, and we never really, when we needed the money, somehow it arrived. I think we've been extraordinarily fortunate in that way, and many others. But and there's more than money. I mean, I think some of the resources that you don't see in any of our accounting are the resources that come with our 91 affiliates. They work for more than 40 universities, and in those universities they have their own, the universities are paying the salaries, they're supporting them. So all of those universities are in their own ways contributing to this project, and we are the beneficiaries of all of those. But back to 2003. So I think I will say that the most useful thing I did for JPAL was to think of Rachel Glenister to be the executive director. I'll take credit for it. It was my idea. And it was an extraordinary idea. Because Rachel has been amazing. She's been almost, from day one, she understood what we could be. She provided leadership, she provided energy, she provided charm, she provided organization. We never thought she would take the job, even when we offered it her. She had a cushy job at the IMF. She took a pay cut of 50%, came and worked for us. And we've been lucky all the way. I mean, I think the second best thing I did for JPAL was to buy hot chocolate for Iqbal Dhaliwal. That might have been what persuaded him to take the job. Again, take a large pay cut and join JPAL. And he has been amazing. And we've been, every time, so lucky with the people we have. I mean, in every office, we have people like Ryan Cooper, Shobini, Laura, Poswell, Ellen in Paris. I mean, all of these people, they're such extraordinary people, extraordinarily gifted, energetic, visionary people. Every time I see them, I meet them, this is one of the nice things about this occasion they're all here, and they inspire me whenever I see them. It's really a privilege to have such people to work with. But I think that's this theme that we've been lucky. I think this is a theme that I think it's hard to, it just keeps coming back. We have, one of the places where you can't run RCTs without somebody doing the program. We don't run programs. Who would run the program? And, in 2003, or even before, when we started doing RCTs, the median reaction to the proposal that you do in RCT is, as if you're proposed sticking a kind of a microscope inside somebody's head and looked at what's going on in their bread. It was like you're doing experiment with people. I think the reaction was somehow we were putting them into cages like mice and watching them. And that reaction, given that was the space we were in, how did we manage to have partners from the very beginning who were willing to take us on and implement these, I think, what then was seen as sort of crazy academic ideas that you should randomize programs. So why did ICS in Kenya or Pratham or Seva Mandir in Rajasthan in India, why did these organizations agree to do RCTs? Why? And indeed, what's been remarkable is that journey with them. They've not only become friends and supporters, they've become sounding boards. With their ideas, we have ideas, we can throw them at them and we'll get reactions. They have ideas, they invite us in to discuss them. We have become, in many ways, some of the most interesting intellectual adventures I've been in involve being parts of those discussions, of discussing with Seva Mandir how they should change their program, discussion with Pratham how they would reorganize education delivery. That experience of being with a set of absolutely extraordinary people thinking on the ground, on their feet about the problem they're solving is one that I think is a real privilege. As an academic economist, I would have never thought I would have that opportunity. I'm infinitely grateful to them. We as an organization, we have had since then, over time, we've added many, many partners, so many extraordinary ones. Many of them are represented here. TECO, SNS, BRAC, Bandhan, all of these organizations, they have shaped the way the world works, and we are fortunate to work with them. And it's not just that we not only work with sort of NGOs, we work with government departments, and some of our most, I would say, to use a technical word, wacky programs have been with government departments. The police department in Rajasthan, which is not, you would not think as an obviously innovative organization, has been one of our most willing and happy supporters in all the things we've been trying to study about, incentives and sort of corruption and getting organizational efficiency. We've been working with we've had a ringside view of policy making from TNP Duaka in Indonesia, working on the design of programs which have enormous impact on the lives of people. One of our, Nava Ashraf, has worked with the health department in Zambia, and again has had enormous opportunities for transformative work. And this is all things that could not have happened. You cannot do the kinds of things, you cannot, for example, study the enforcement of laws unless the police department works with you. And that privilege of working with an organization that's taking an enormous risk just because I think the intellectual arguments are solid and the cause is good is a privilege that we've repeatedly had and we're really grateful for. It's the kind of research we do. I think we could have done that research, but I think one thing that's facilitated that the kind of research and the kind of policy outreach we do has been really made possible by an emergence of an entire ecosystem of organizations that are in the same space, either organizations that do RCTs or organizations that are willing to take results from RCTs and scale them up, or organizations that take those results and try to integrate them into policy. And this whole ecosystem, we live inside this ecosystem. We have enormously benefited from it. IPA and SIGA and EPOD are organizations that we work with. They're similar organizations. They do RCTs. There are funders like DIV in the US government who have made many more RCTs possible. There's the Kipu Commission in Peru or the Compass Commission in Chile, which have sort of institutionalized the process of learning, attempts to institutionalize the process of learning. There are a set of, there's Deworm the World, which is working on deworming. There's a whole set of organizations without which our work would not be possible. At the scale it is, the scale is only possible because we have all these partners. Finally, I think the biggest single source of energy for JPAL, above all, are our affiliates. We started with 9, we have 91 affiliates. These 91 affiliates bring extraordinarily insight and brilliance into this work. I mean, I would say that there has never been a collection of a comparably brilliant group of development economists and more policy economists working in Europe and the US, brought under a single umbrella. I think JPAL is that unique opportunity. The talent we have in that, the energy we have, the brilliance we have, and we are the beneficiary of that. I wince occasionally when a newspaper reports a study done by a researcher at Yale and another at London School of Economics and say, MIT study says. But I think some of our most extraordinary work, some of the reasons why we have a claim to some public recognition come from people who are not at MIT. And that energy, that willingness to participate in this project has made this project possible. Without them, it would be impossible. Finally, I think I can keep going. This is one of my favorite themes, how fortunate we've been. But I think I just wanted to end by saying, I think part of where we draw that energy is from all of you. Many of you have come from a long distance just to be with us. You have no direct, immediate connection with JPAL. You've come here because you felt that we were doing something important. The extent to which that energizes us is enormous, because we are not talking to ourselves. We're talking, somehow we feel that there's an ear out there listening to us, and we're infinitely grateful. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody.